You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
The Herons are champs. Yeah. Roll south to Freedom Park, rocking pink and black. Official tissue in the 305, bounty full of grapes. The Battered Fan with Chris and Dan dropping hot takes. Messi and the Herons start the season with a star on the crest, so 29 fan bases can cry, cause we the best. Sign homegrowns like Noah, Frey and Ruiz, replacing goats with greats. Yeah, Miles got the cheese and he called it. Freedom to dream was the backbone. From Lockhart to Miami, it feels good to be at home. Multiple times a week on YouTube and audio. Take the time to subscribe, like and share the show. So check and chat, grab your MLS cup and coming. No question about it, I'm ready to get a star again.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Danny, you're not here yet. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Battered Herons podcast. I am your host, Chris Duran, and alongside me, I have a couple bricks from the brick wall. But we're going to be here today to go ahead and preview the matchup, the long-awaited matchup. Inter Miami finally plays in the 305. Finally. It's finally happening. I see a bunch of people commenting on it right now. Well, this is a comment I want to get to in a little bit, Mem. Mem says, I'm still mad at the CCC elimination. Listen, a lot of people are probably super upset about that. And I think it's something that nobody's really going to get over until we start getting closer to the playoffs, or at least maybe Leagues Cup. So Sean Callahan here saying, Winley posted a stadium update and half of the lower part of the bowl still has no seats. Now, I did see one of these Dade pages on Instagram. I don't know if it's like live in Florida or always in Florida. I don't think it was only in Dade, but this always in Florida account, whatever it is, had Uber access, and they showed sort of like, 360 with the camera looking around the stadium, and I saw some seats, and they also showed an inside look of the locker room, and the locker room looks sexy. The locker room looks very sexy. Sebas is here saying, are you guys going to the soft opening tomorrow? Yes, Sebas, we are going to the soft opening tomorrow, and it's going to be nice. It's going to be fantastic. Hopefully, it's not going to be too crazy because there are a lot of people that are like season ticket holders, and you're definitely going to see a lot more people that are from Miami. I don't think you're going to see too many people from Broward come down for like the soft opening, but I think it's going to be a good time. I spoke to my ticket rep, by the way, so I have some stuff I want to talk about before we get into the Austin preview. So stick around for that. Mr. Krabs saying no World Cup for Jamaica and Ian Frey. What a disaster. Huh? My second favorite team nationally, Jamaica, lost against DR Congo 1-0. What a mess. It's a complete disaster. Long time no see, Soccer Daddy. Shout out to you. And yeah, no gaslighting from Daddy. Not yet. He's going to be here. He's going to be here soon. But there will be some gaslighting. Boss Daddy here saying Lifestyle Miami account. Yes, I believe that's what it was. Like always, whatever. Who cares? Whatever. One of those accounts, those Miami accounts, because why not have more than one Miami account? Shout out to Robbie Taylor. Let me just not mention that. The real GOAT, guys. I don't know about you guys with this messy talk, but this is the true GOAT. Okay? Which we're going to get into that in a little bit. I still got some stuff about the stadium that I want to talk about. And Sean is saying there's like 2 construction workers who's always posting. Listen, Sean, DM me the info, because I need to stalk these guys. Well, I mean, not really anymore. Like tomorrow, I'm going to go to the soft opening, games in like 3 days. Like that guy's going to lose relevancy immediately, right? Like, I mean, how many people were following that guy for Inter Miami updates? Is that the same guy, Sean, that did the video where it showed the flooding? Is that the same guy? And Ashley, okay, shout out to you, Ashley. You're going to be coming down from Broward County. Shout out to Ed Sebas, too. Okay, we got a couple of Broward County people coming down for the soft opening. And then Sean Callahan mentioning, I mentioned the Jamaica disaster. Sean Callahan mentioning the Italy loss. Yeah, that's another mess. What a mess, huh? This like open, this World Cup. DR Congo is going to be what? Aren't they going to be in the same group with like Colombia? Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to. Sarakti saying I'll be at the preview event tomorrow. So guys, I spoke to my rep and I asked my rep about what it looks like, sort of like what's been the development, especially from their perspective. A lot of these reps were like, selling these tickets based off these like little tiny Lego models that some kid in Hialeah built. And all of a sudden now they see it come to life. I asked a little bit like, how's it feel? And they said, no, it's beautiful. The stadium is gorgeous. And the seating on the bottom bowl is going to be gray and white, which is weird because they did the sort of sprinkle, the sprinkle deal with the pink and black up in the top bowl. And I think they did that because they're like, well, at least let's make it look like it's packed when it's not packed. So very smart on them. Like the lower bowl is going to fill, but the top bowl, I guess that's why they did that. That's just my assumption. That's not what my ticket rep said or anything. For those of you who were wondering about parking, about this Saturday's game, there will be parking that can be sold beforehand. And I believe it's $45. And I believe that there is going to be a third-party service that's going to be offering the parking. Again, that's just, something else. Sean Callahan saying the inside looks okay, the outside, I don't know, sussy. Well, I guess the important thing is the inside, right? Like when you go to anybody that's at home watching this game, they're not going to show the outside like construction-y area. They're going to go to the beach. They can finally actually go to the beach because it's like 20 minutes away, 10 minutes away. I figured out also for those of you taking the metro from down south, there's two trains. There's a green line and an orange line. The orange line is what takes you down to the airport, but the green line will also take you sort of towards that general area. So you can be able to kind of take that and then hop on the orange line for sure. And listen, that's what I'm doing, Sean. I'm going to be on the Metro Rail. I'm not going to drive down there first day. The parking is going to be a mess. Like, I don't know if you guys have gone to Marlins games, like getting out of Marlins games. And there's like 10 and a half people that go to Marlins games. And they sell tickets for like $2 and change. And getting out of that parking lot is a complete disaster. So imagine like the first home opener of soccer for Messi in pink in Miami proper. You guys paying $40-$50 to go park there. Good luck. You're not getting out of that parking lot for like 3.5 business days. For as long as it took Joao Felix to hit that second goal against USA, 5 business days. That's how long it's going to take you guys to get out of that parking lot. I love Marlins games too, Sean, but like, let's call it a spade. Like 5.5 people go out there and they all live right down the street. So again, that's a little bit of the stadium sort of talk. I'm pretty sure when Danny hops on here, he's going to have his sort of sayings and opinions. Guys, we have a game this week, and it's a pretty important game. It's GOAT versus GOAT. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Because we got my boy Taylor coming in the town. Hopefully. We're going to find out. We do have a guest for the show today, guys. And the guest is currently backstage right now. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on in like 22 seconds. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about Robert Taylor, even though he's like injured. So I don't know if he's actually going to come or not. We'll find out about that. But let's go ahead and get to it. And Amy is asking, do I prefer pozole or enchiladas? Enchiladas are good, right? Like, I don't even know what the hell a pozole is. What's a pozole? What? Pozole? Pozole is a traditional Mexican stew. I don't want no stew. I want a soup. I'm not sick. Soup is for sick people. No, I want to give me an enchilada. I'll take an enchilada. I'm not going to take soup. Like, that's why Panera Bread sucks, right? Because, like, they're just a soup place. And anybody that likes Panera, like, you guys just like hospital food. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, let's get to the preview here. Let's go ahead and break down and preview the first ever game in Miami proper against Austin FC. And I'm going to bring on my boy, Hernan. What's going on, Hernan? How are you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing good. I was listening to you backstage. You have an insane control on the chat, bro. You were making me laugh, dude. Pozole, first of all, Pozole slams, bro. Pozole slams. You don't gotta be sick. It's great.
It looks good, but it looks like soup. Like, I mean, do I want to? I mean, an enchilada seems like it's gonna be a little bit more filling. Like, soup is sopita. Like, I mean, and it does look good because they got all kinds of fixings in these things.
Dude, you had me dying backstage, bro. I was listening in on some of the comments from the chat. You know, I'm flying in myself. Never been to Miami. I've been to Tampa. I have family there. I've been to Orlando, been to Sarasota, all those places, but I've never been to Miami. So if anybody in the chat has any recommendations for restaurants or Airbnbs in Little Havana, so I'm looking for like a sandwich, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking for something good like that. And then any tips on public transportation. If I have to, I'll Uber or Lyft, but I'm trying to catch a train, trying to catch a bus, something like that. So I need help. Please, everybody.
So it's weird because you're actually in Little Havana, which there's a couple train stations generally around the area, but in reality, you're just a little further east of where the stadium is. So, I mean, you can take the Metro Rail as well. If not, they probably have a bus, but I don't know about the bus, but Sean is saying we don't have public transportation. Sorry, we suck. Okay, Sean, we do. Okay, here it is. I'm sorry that I'm not fancy enough like Danny, but that's the bus. I mean, that's the train. And I mean, I'm going to be coming from all the way on the bottom, right? All the way down here. But generally speaking, in Little Havana, that's like right there, kind of close. It's like right there in the immediate area by the airport. So there is a possibility that you can be able to take them. It just depends where you're going to be staying at. Now, I guarantee people in the chat are going to tell you places like Versailles, and chat, this is where you guys got to come through in the clutch. Like, you can't leave Hernan hanging like this.
Please, everybody. I'm looking for something good, man.
Well, and that's cool that you're coming down. So when are you going to be heading down here?
So we're going in a group of 3. My buddy gets there first Friday night. He lands in the Miami airport. My flight is to Fort Lauderdale Saturday morning. I get in at about like 8 in the morning. But they told me that there's a train that or something that goes down from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. So I'm gonna be checking that out. And after that, I'm gonna go to the Airbnb, chill out for a little bit. The word down here in Austin is that there's going to be like an Austin supporters tailgate. I have the information here on my phone, but it starts at 3 or 2 p.m. And then after that, I mean, I don't think I'm going to go back to the B&B until later on that night. They're going to be, so day 1, this is for Austin fans. Day 1, April 3rd, Miami takeover. 6 p.m., the underline, there's going to be some pickup. 9 p.m. at the Blackbird Ordinary, there's going to be a happy hour. Nice. And then day 2, match day, from 2 to 5 is going to be a Heineken tailgate at the Blackbird Ordinary with the DJ. And then 5 p.m. train to Miami Freedom Park. And then 6 p.m. there's going to be a march to the new stadium. And of course, 7:30 p.m. is going to be kickoff.
Holy crap. So they're taking over the Blackbird Ordinary. That's like a pretty big spot to a lot of locals that like to go like bar hopping and stuff like that. That's cool.
Okay. That's actually good to know. I mean, Austin always does like some pretty cool away day kind of things, like for big matches. I remember I was in Minnesota for the US Open Cup semifinal, and they did something pretty big out there. But this isn't just the regular game. I mean, this is
No, it isn't.
one of Austin's biggest games of the season. And not talking about Leagues Cup, not talking about US Open Cup, not talking about the playoffs that they're aiming to make it to, but just regular season matches. This might be Austin's biggest regular season match ever. And it's honestly, I don't want to glaze. I don't want to come out here and glaze, but it is an honor to be able to play this game in Miami's new stadium. As soon as I found out that Austin was going to be breaking it with Messi, Miami, De Paul, Mascherano, all those guys, I was like, dude, I have to be there. I'm going. I cannot wait. And it's literally right around the corner. I'm very excited.
It's crazy because this break itself, just without the whole stadium deal, it feels like it's been forever since we've watched some soccer. So the fact that it feels now all of a sudden the game is in 3 days, like this is such a huge game. And you're right, it is really cool that you guys are going to be sort of like blessing for the first time the stadium. And just so you know, there's somebody here, Tabaquito, says, look close to the stadium on 37th Ave, east of Northwest 7th. Try Don Camarón. That is a good spot. That is a really good spot. It's over, I believe it's by I believe it's by like a casino, like a real, I don't want to say rundown casino, but it's not like Hard Rock Casino. And Boss Daddy is here saying Hernan looks like the Spanish Robbie Taylor. Shout out to
Robbie
Boss
T.
Daddy. Yeah. Let's catch up with Austin a little bit, because like Danny and I, we do the Battered, football, soccer channel, whatever we want to call it. And we had some decently high expectations for Austin, but you guys are sitting in a lot lower of a spot than I anticipated on 11th in the Western Conference. You guys got 1 win, you got 2 draws, and you got 2 losses. And it's been close games. Like you guys lost by a point against Real Salt Lake. You guys tied against a good competitor, LAFC. You guys lost against Charlotte, but then you had the red card, tied against Minnesota. So like what's been going on with Austin recently?
Man, I mean, everybody knows Robbie Taylor's out. I was listening to you talk while I was backstage. Everybody's kind of wondering, is Robert Taylor going to make it? Is he not? I mean, he's just one name on the injury list that's really been hurting Austin. A player that a lot of Austin FC fans really hoped and expected to make this game because of obviously everything around it, the build-up and everything, is Brandon Vasquez. He was one of the highest profile signings that Austin FC has made in recent years. Just over $10 million paid for him from Monterrey. Everybody knows how successful he was with Cincinnati. But he got injured last season. He had a season-ending injury at PayPal Park, one of the worst pitches in MLS. I heard that they just fixed their grass. I think that they updated it recently, so that's pretty cool. But he got a season-ending injury out there. He hasn't been back. In an MLS media day, he said that the medical staff and himself, they were aiming for the Miami match to be his grand return, to be the moment where he officially comes back. But based off some stuff that we've been hearing from the coach, from the media midweek press conferences, Brandon Vasquez is not going to be ready for this game. What we were told was that whenever they clear him, he still needs 4 weeks of team training for him to be fully match fit, fully match ready or whatnot. And he hasn't really had that. So maybe 2 more weeks for Brandon Vasquez to be able to play for Austin FC. Another name that is probably not going to be there. He could be coming off the bench. Coach Nico told the media that before the international break, Owen Wolf had a really good week. He had a sports hernia surgery in the offseason, and that's sidelined him out for the entire 2026 season so far. He was a huge threat for Austin last season. He hasn't played a single minute yet. He could maybe come off the bench, but I just, I would love to see it, but I just don't know right now. I think 40%. Robert Taylor, I know that this is somebody very important for Miami fans. He got hurt against Minnesota in a non-contact injury. I think it looked really bad off the eye, but then Coach Nico tells the media that it was just an MCL level 1 sprain, and it wasn't that bad as people had anticipated it. So I think Robert Taylor could definitely be an option off the bench. I think he would love to feature in this game, especially because of the moments he had with Miami before he was traded to Austin, Leagues Cup winner with this side. So it would be a little bit of a somewhat of a homecoming for him. You know, I think Miami was very special to him. And I see that a lot of Miami fans still see him in a very positive light and a very good light. So I would love to see Robert Taylor. There you go. I'd love to see Robert Taylor get that moment for him, because it would also be somewhat of a confidence boost for him. You know what I'm saying? I think he wants to play in front of the fans that supported him at one point and still support him to this day. So Austin has a lot of players out right now, but they've gotten guys back like Jaden Nelson. They've gotten guys back like Mikel Dessler, but big names out, Brandon Vasquez, Danny Pereira, and possibly Owen Wolf. That's really contributed to the slow start that Austin FC has had this season. But, you know, just like you mentioned, it was a really good result against LAFC. I think Austin could have won that game if it wasn't for the great goalkeeper Lloris, and then VAR took a goal back. It was rightfully called. I think Ilya Sanchez wasn't in an offside position 100%. Yeah. But it was a good result for ATX, and LAFC has yet to concede a goal. So, you know, they have Son, Buanga. It was a tough match. So I said this to some of my friends down here in Austin. I said, I really wish this Miami game came right after the LAFC game, because the boys had momentum. The boys had you know, they were on a good run, or at least they were in a good moment. The FIFA break could mess things up just a little bit. So we'll see. And then the atmosphere is going to be crazy.
Well, I think the atmosphere is going to be electric, especially, like I said, it's the first game that's in Miami proper, like a home game, right? Like we played in Miami against Miami FC, like in the US Open Cup, but this is like legitimate home game, first day in the stadium. Now, you had mentioned, because talking about injuries, you had mentioned Jaden Nelson. And Danny and I have had a couple conversations about him, because he was essentially behind Ali Ahmed in Vancouver. And the funny thing is that Ali Ahmed goes over to the Premier League, and you think Jaden Nelson would sort of stick around and take that role, and all of a sudden he moves. And then, of course, you know, Ali Ahmed goes and he just loses his spot. Now, Jaden Nelson is super promising, was coming off the bench, had a lot of potential. He's another player, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he picked up an injury, but he seems like he's good to go, right?
Yeah, so with Jaden Nelson, it's been very interesting, because it seems like he was carrying something from Vancouver. I mean, they had a very long season. He didn't really have an off season. I remember when he was first signed, the first media availability that we had with Coach Nico, he gave him a lot of props in the maturity department, because Jaden Nelson, as soon as he got traded, he was down here in Austin figuring out his living situation, where he was going to stay, you know, moving everything from up there down here to Austin. I mean, that's a long way to go. Yeah. And then he had a camp with Canada where they played against Guatemala. He had 80 minutes in that game. I remember Coach Nico was kind of upset. He was kind of frustrated at the fact that they gave him 80 minutes. He was not on the roster for LAFC. He was questionable for that game, but they did not feature him at all, not even on the bench. But with this international break, he finally gets much needed rest. And with Robert Taylor going down against Minnesota, the first game of the season, it seems like those two players were kind of going to be, you know, one was going to play, the other one was going to come off for him. One was going to start, the other one was going to come off for him. They were going to be changing, you know what I'm saying? And so with Robert Taylor going out so early, you lose an option for rest, for just to have another person in the attack when Jaden Nelson needed to come off. And then to this day, I know it's very short, but to this day, Jaden Nelson has not played more than 60 minutes for Austin FC. He's carrying somewhat of a hamstring issue. I heard Coach Nico say that the medical staff believes it's a pinched nerve in his back that's really kind of limiting his I guess his abilities with ATX right now. But based off of things that the club has been posting, training videos, photos, or whatnot, it looks like Jaden Nelson is back 100%. He got some much needed rest, so expect him in Miami.
Well, and I was looking at sort of how you guys line up, and my next question is essentially going to be, what's sort of like the formation and the tactics? I noticed that you guys typically run like a 4-2-3-1, maybe a 4-4-2 at times. And it's funny that you mentioned Jaden Nelson in terms of competing against, you know, Robert Taylor for that, because last year I saw that Uzuni was essentially competing with Robert Taylor out on the wing. He wasn't really primarily up so high. And now it seems like Austin is trying to get Uzuni to be more of in a sort of, primarily like a striker role or like an upfront kind of guy. So like, what's the formation and what are the tactics behind the formation for ATX?
No, you're actually spot on. The very early part of the season, I know we're only 5 games in. Austin FC was rolling out with the 4-2-3-1. But against LA, they did that. They did a 4-4-2. And Christian Ramirez post match, I asked him about it. I was like, "Hey man, Coach Nico rolled out with something different in this game. It was a 4-4-2, and he responded with it wasn't really a 4-4-2. It was more of a 3-4-3. The way that they were pressing, the way that they were defending, attacking, or whatnot. So that's one thing about Austin under Coach Nico Estevez is that Coach Nico, he's very he likes changing things as the game goes on. There's never a for sure position for Austin FC in 90 minutes. We get the graphics, we see what's on FootMob, we see what's on SofaScore, all that stuff. But that's not really how Austin plays the entire game. I would personally like to see Austin roll out with the 4-4-2. I think they need to have almost a exact game as they had against LAFC. Shout out to Nico Dubersarski. Really good DM. He had a really good performance against Sun. Brendan Heinzike, MLS veteran center back, he had a really good performance against Boanga and Sun also. So if they could replicate that kind of performance that they had against LAFC, they could do some positive things against Miami. I mean, this Miami side is one of the most exciting teams, one of the most talented teams in MLS. They're probably favored to win everything this year. I know CCC was a little bit of a heartbreak, but I mean, that Nashville side, I mean, with Christian Espinosa, oh my day, San Jose, whoever let Christian Espinosa go from the San Jose team needs to get fired. I hope they already have 100% because they just made a good team stronger. And we saw that in CCC, and Nashville beat Austin FC in the Open Cup final here at Q2 Stadium in Austin, Texas. So I kind of hurts to even talk about it right there. But no, I really hope that they roll out with a similar kind of mindset, similar sort of tactics that they had against LAFC. The performance was positive, although it was a 0-0 draw, was very exciting. Yeah. And you're going to need to be almost perfect to get anything from this Inter Miami side, especially in such an important, such a emotional night. I saw that Miami is going to name a piece of the stadium or a part of the stadium after Messi. I mean, that's going to bring a tear to his eye. I mean, we saw the kind of emotional international break that he had with his national team, and I'm expecting a little bit of the same kind of emotion to be rolled out in this weekend's match between Austin and Miami. So I'm hoping for that 4-4-2. I think Facundo Torres, a guy that has found a lot of success with Orlando, him returning to the state of Florida, maybe he needs a little bit of air to hit his face, to get in his nostrils. He hasn't really been killing it with Austin FC just yet. But we've seen
he's
really
a killer, though.
Him. He's a killer. He's a killer.
He definitely has potential. And actually, I was just going to ask you, give us, I guess, one or two players to watch out for. I mean, Facu Torres is somebody who has definitely given Inter Miami a ton of problems from time to time. I guess give me a guy, that nobody would really expect that we can be able to kind of watch out for.
Oof. Okay. Somebody that people need to. I want to give you two names. I mean, number one, Mirtu Soni. Mirtu Soni. And I know Danny.
Well, Danny hates him worse than I do.
Danny said the same thing. Last time I was on, Danny said the same thing. But he had a really good game against LAFC. He went on international duty with Albania. They got knocked out of the semifinal versus Poland. I know Poland lost against Sweden, and they're going to the World Cup. But Mirtu Suni is a big Cristiano Ronaldo fan. They had a game, I believe it was in the Champions League. He played against Ronaldo's Juventus. He scored a goal, hit the C, and they exchanged jerseys at the end of the match. So I think this is going to be a big moment for Mirtu Suni playing against Leo Messi. His idol is Ronaldo, and he's probably going to come into this game with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. His country got bounced from the World Cup. He had a really good game against LAFC. And he has to step up to the plate. I mean, he's been, he hasn't been that guy that a lot of people expected him to be. He's the most expensive signing in Austin FC history at $12.5 million. And he's yet to really kind of, just go at it, Yeah. He's yet to be that guy. So very positive performance against LAFC, but he has to build on it. He has to keep going. I mean, Facundo Torres, for sure, is a player that people already know. I don't think he's somebody that he's going to be under the radar for folks. But one name that I'm really looking at to be important in this game, not necessarily in the goal-scoring department, but on the defensive side of things, his homework is probably going to be to shut down At least try to shut down. How many people have tried to shut down this guy? But Nico Tubersarski is going to be tasked, most likely, with the homework of stopping Leo Messi. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. He did a great job against Heung-min Son. It's Leo Messi's probably his idol. He's from Argentina.
Yes.
He's probably grown up watching Leo Messi ever since he was in diapers. And he had a great performance as well against LAFC. So this is a guy that won't score a goal, at least in my opinion, but he's going to have a huge just steak on his plate. And he's got to eat it up. Pause. Stop Leo Messi.
Well, and I have a question because you had mentioned Usuni about how much he makes and he hasn't really hit the ground running or hasn't really been that guy, right? Because we're sort of facing the same struggle to smaller sample size, right? With Beterame that we signed for $15 million, took up a DP spot. And you had mentioned something about how the fan base feels because, yeah, I mean, there's high expectations in terms of this team, but it's funny because the ownership emphasized the CCC so heavily this season. And the fact that we essentially got bounced out early from Nashville, which really gives us a terrible look in the future. I mean, in the beginning, before you got on in the backstage, it was tough because people are still remembering. I mean, literally the first comment, if I can just try to pan up here, it's Mem saying, I'm still mad at the CCC elimination. There's people that legitimately have not gotten over that. So I can definitely understand where you're coming from, aka Mike V here saying Robarame. And we also have Allende, who's also robbing us blind as well. And that's crazy because like Allende has such like a good view from a lot of the fan base in the MLS. They think that Allende is like this amazing person because he has the MLS record now in the playoffs. Guy is a trash can. And shout out to Soccer Daddy in the chat, just in case. Want to make sure that Soccer Daddy knows I said that he is trash. As far as like strengths and weaknesses go, what are sort of the strengths and the weaknesses that we should anticipate, I guess, or know of with Austin?
Strength, I'd say their work on defense. I think on defense they've been pretty sound. You know, they recently signed John Bell from Seattle. I think since the Real Salt Lake game where he scored a goal, I think he really has been growing into this role that Austin FC has kind of been putting him in. Guilherme Biru is a fan favorite. He's a little bit of a cult hero down here in Austin. He fights for the badge, literally fights for the badge. There's some photos out there of him swinging on Greg Vanny, which is insane, by the way. This guy is crazy. But, you know, he's low-key. John Bell's low-key been able to kind of knock down Guilherme Biru from that pedestal a lot of Austin FC fans had him at. And, you know, John Bell's good going forward. He's good defending. But also give a lot of credit to Brandon Heinzike, Alexander Svatok, and John Gallagher, who's been subbing in for the injured Mikel Dessler. It seems that he's back, but his first minutes back were against the LAFC team, and he looked sluggish. He looked a little bit slow, so he looked like a player that has been out for quite some time, but he is back. But I would roll with John Gallagher for this game just because, you know, he's been what has been working so far. So I really like Austin FC's effort on defense. Of course, they have Brett Stuver in goal. In my opinion, he's one of the best goalkeepers in MLS. Not the best goalkeeper in MLS, but he's definitely one of. And he's just an amazing shot stopper. I think he's a phenomenal player between the sticks there in goal. So I want to give credit to their performance on defense. Their weakness has to be the goal scored. This is a team that scored 2 against Minnesota. They were at home. The atmosphere was great, but they conceded 2. One of them was a little bit of a very weird goal because it was right after Robert Taylor had that injury and everybody was kind of shaken up out of it. They beat DC United with 1 goal. You know, they go to Charlotte. They get battered there with the red card. They go to RSL. John Bell scores his 1 goal, but, you know, RSL is able to, you know, do their thing last minute or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then against LAFC, they had a phenomenal defensive performance. They shut down Heung-min Son. They shut down Buanga, like I had mentioned earlier. So I want to give credit to what they've done on defense. And also, actually, their biggest strength by far is set piece opportunities. I can't believe I almost went over this. Set piece opportunities for Austin FC are going to be crucial in this Miami game, because that's where Facundo Torres has been creating chances for Austin FC. If Austin has a corner, if Austin has a dead ball situation of a free kick, be very careful, Inter Miami fans, because that's how Austin has been getting a lot of opportunities in front of goal. So that's something to look out for. Austin so far this season is a set piece team. I know Coach Nico has emphasized a lot of the work that they've done with assistant coach Nico Bosch. So set pieces is by far their strength, with a shout out to their defensive work.
And it's funny because Sean says, and we suck at set pieces. So that would be a complete disaster for us. That's something we don't look forward to having to defend set pieces, because we are not good at that. And on top of that, you had mentioned the defense. And I'll tell you, when I've watched some Austin games, Heinz Eich looks like a pretty good defender to me. He's a solid defender. And the good thing is that defensively, you guys have been pretty good. You know, you've allowed 7 goals, but only scored 5. So that basically pans out exactly where you're sitting at. You know, you guys aren't just scoring enough. And the fact, like I mentioned in the beginning, you know, you guys are losing, but you're not losing in big ways. Like, you're not losing by large, you know, amounts of goals or anything like that.
Correct. No, yeah. I know that the Charlotte game could have been, honestly, it could have been a bloodbath. I think Charlotte did that exactly against New York Red Bulls. I think they had a just giant scoreline difference. They just beat the lights out of them. But credit to Svatok and Heinz, like, they had some really good last minute tackles that saved goal scoring opportunities. I mean, Pep Biel still got a brace, if I'm not mistaken. He could have had a Hattie. I know Austin got a little bit lucky there. I think Pep Biel hit the crossbar in that match, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, going down to man against Charlotte and in their home opener, oof, man, that was tough. Tough. So set piece opportunities is going to be something that Austin FC is going to really, really look out for. They've been working really hard on them this season. So just keep an eye out for those corner kicks.
Well, and I wanted to talk about something just real quick before I get to whispering in your ear, and the chat knows what I'm talking about here. You had mentioned how well the defense has been playing. And the funny thing is that we have Beterame, who hasn't scored up to date. We have Allende, who is supposedly a leyenda, and he is robbing us. And then we have Silvetti, who, you know, he is a really flashy player that comes in, Silvetti, and he can make a critical difference, but he's not sort of producing as well as the 7, 6, 8 games that he played last season. So those are some issues there as far as offensively up top is concerned. And depending on what Mascherano has planned, we'll have to see how Messi contributes, whether he's going to be, you know, coming in as more of a goal threat or as more of an assist threat. Now, I wanted to get to the point where, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, and you're probably a gambling man, so I'm just going to take the guess, and you take your Uber or your train down to the station, first day ever in the first game ever in Miami Freedom Park, you happen to find a secret path that nobody knows about to be able to reach Mascherano. You made a bet on Inter Miami winning, but you're not so sure about that bet hitting. So how is it that you're going to reach Mascherano, get there, and now you have to basically whisper in his ear, this is how you beat Austin FC? What are you telling him?
Oof, that's a really good question. I'm telling Mascherano, damn, that you put me in a difficult spot because I feel like Benedict Arnold here. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? But gambling, man. Hey, gas is $4 out here, man.
Yes.
Money got to come in some way, right? So this, I think Austin has struggled on the counter. Their defense in transition struggles a little bit because they can get caught up, because the reason why I say this is because Joe got here from Minnesota. His position is still unclear. The offense, he can play on the defense. defense, but sometimes he gets caught up. Not on him 100%, but I think counterattacks is the way to break this. Been good. He is not fast, and if guys too with I know people are talking about Berterame Allende not being it, but right, if it's a 2, I think Telasco Segovia has 3 assists this season, if I'm not mistaken. That boy is magic. So look for that. Look for Telasquito. Look for the counterattack and just press those defenders. Press Fatok, because sometimes they get clumsy and they might do a bad.
Well, and I'll tell you, this much, and you're breaking up just a little bit, Hernan. So I'm sorry, I didn't want to bull over or interrupt you. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because again, I was talking about how Allende literally has been doing nothing, and if you're talking that the counter could be the possibility of Inter Miami beating Austin, then players like Allende, who like to get in behind the defense and make those sort of runs to get open, then it can really pan out to be positive for Inter Miami. So I definitely can see where you're coming from.
I see the comment. Am I good? Y'all, am I good now? I see somebody say, how do I have worse Wi-Fi than Daniel? Guys, I don't know what it is with my Wi-Fi down here. It sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I don't know exactly what's going on 100%. And I'll say this about Austin FC. There's a running joke down here that we have that if a player is in a rut, if a player hasn't scored in 4 or 5 games, if a team needs a win, if somebody needs a bounce back, Austin always gives it to them. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is always the case, but Austin has always been that team. And that's one thing I'm going to be looking out for. Is Austin going to finally get over that? Or are they going to give Berterame his goal? Are they going to make Allende get back into goal scoring form? And don't be surprised, man. Don't be surprised if that's the case, because Austin has done that time and time and time again. I've seen every single Austin FC match since they came into the league. I've been a season ticket holder, transferred into the media landscape, and they've done that all the time, man. They're bounce back FC, but not for themselves, for the other side.
Well, and I want to mention something, because it's how beautiful is it that they're talking about Danny's Wi-Fi, and your connection got worse as Danny got into the backstage, because he just came in with his McDonald's Wi-Fi, which, by the way,
isn't bad.
Your Wi-Fi is absolutely terrible. And I wanted to bring up the first goal question, but I wanted Danny to bring it up because we've been talking about it a lot. But we basically got to the end without getting to the predictions, Danny. But go ahead and ask him who. I mean, well, I guess I'll ask the question. You think Uzuni's going to score the first goal, Danny? Your boy?
That would be terrible because I hate Uzuni. I think I talked to Hernan a little about it in our preview show for the season. Yeah. There's a couple of players in the league that I just, for some reason, I just don't like. Uzuni's one of them. McNaughton is another one. I can't stand McNaughton. And this is a third that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but Uzuni's on the top of the list. So,
well, you don't like Campana either. You're a hater.
Campana's whatever.
And then you know what? I don't think you like the GOAT either.
Well, Robert Taylor, I'm assuming, isn't playing.
No,
he's not playing.
50-50.
I think. Look, if there was going to be an Austin player to score the first goal in that stadium, I think it would be apropos for it to be Robert Taylor.
Yes, he's a legend.
Yeah, that would be the only way that I'd be happy if it's not Messi. I want it to be Messi though. So you know predictions yet?
No, we haven't gotten to predictions just yet. And
Has Hernan become a degenerate gambler yet?
yes, he has become
Okay.
a degenerate
Okay.
gambler.
All
But
right.
but the Wi-Fi was cutting in and out because you were back there trying to make your connection, and you literally destroyed
That's
the
my
set
fault.
because of your
My
McDonald's
apologies.
Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
So thanks for that, Danny. Thanks for nothing.
So I guess it's prediction time. I got here just in time.
For the
Hernan,
fun
how you
stuff.
feeling?
Okay, I'm feeling pretty optimistic for this game, guys. I know what Inter Miami is. I know the talent that they have. They have a proper coach. I mean, these guys, I don't have to say much for you to know what Inter Miami is capable of. They're favorites to win everything. We talked about the CCC stuff that happened, but other than that, favorites for the Shield, favorite for the MLS Cup, favorite for Leagues Cup. I mean, they're the team to beat. And I hope that Austin FC plays up to the occasion. You know, I hope that they've been locked in this game the entire international break. I'm hoping that this team has been looking in the mirror and saying, you're going to go out there and you're going to spoil the party. It's easier said than done, right? And I want to bring this up. Leo Messi had a very emotional window with Argentina. He played 90 minutes and 45 minutes in both of those games. I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue for him. I know that when they had to play the CCC and then leagues games, they kind of were struggling a little bit. There were some 0-0s there. I know that they just beat New York City FC. So I'm hoping that the travel of, if I'm not mistaken, 11 Inter Miami guys had international duty, or 10 or 11.
Yes,
a big number.
11.
Big number. So I'm hoping that comes into play. Austin only had 2 players really get serious minutes. It was Usuni and Joseph Rosales. Facundo Torres didn't play for Uruguay. Svatok didn't play for Ukraine. So it's really just a matter of getting over the jet lag, getting over that travel tax or whatnot. So if Austin can go into this game refreshed, healthy, I think they could come away with the draw. And I think a draw should be looked at as a win for Austin FC fans. And I know that's setting the bar low, but guys, this is Inter Miami. This is the team that's favored to win everything. And if you could get a draw in Miami, I think that would be a positive result for Austin FC.
So your prediction is a draw. What's the numbers? Give us a score.
2-2.
Ooh, I like that. Danny, that's a solid prediction right there. I mean,
that's nice because Hernan said it's a solid prediction. If I call a draw for any reason, Chris is on my ass.
Well, I mean, but of course, because like we shouldn't be predicting draw. First of all, we shouldn't be predicting draws. Okay, we need to contractually be picking wins every time. We could be playing the Monstars in Space Jam, and we're predicting a win.
No,
now,
not me.
Well, I mean, because you're a bozo. Mike B here is saying there's 0 chance Austin wins if the Moss brothers have to pay Robbie Robinson to take a bat to Austin players' legs at halftime. That's what will happen. 1,000%. And don't forget our boy Lawson Sunderland.
So, all right. So he's going draw. Chris, tell us your exaggerated win.
Well, look, first of all, it would be shocking if an Austin player scores the first goal. That would be a disaster. I do think that we're going to score the first goal. And I feel like it's going to be like a Silvetti or like an Allende. I don't feel like it's going to be messy. I don't think it's going to be written in the stars like you think, Danny. And I think that we're going to win 3-1.
And I unfortunately missed and I was really looking forward to. I'm gonna have to listen to it back after the fact. I was really looking forward to hearing what Hernan had to say about Austin. But if you could just tell me in like 10 seconds or less, the attack, has it been strong?
No, It has not. There's been too many injuries. There, guys are slowly coming back.
Okay.
But we mentioned earlier that set pieces have been Austin's strength.
Okay.
Facundo Torres has just a gem on his left boot, and every corner kick is a threat. Every set piece opportunity is a threat for Austin FC. So if they're able to get corners, if they're able to get those free kicks, I think that's where Austin FC is going to really go for it when we're talking about goal scoring opportunities, and they might bunker down. They might bunker down and hope for a corner kick.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Austin FC.
So and they bunker down a bit. They play a low block. They're not worried about possession too much. Because that's where Miami
100%.
struggles. That's where Miami struggles. So if they're gonna bunker down, Miami's gonna have a hard time breaking that down because they just have so far this season for whatever reason. Unless they because once a team bunkers down, if you start Allende, he's basically useless. He has no room to run in behind. He has no quality on ball. So if he's not running into space, getting the ball, and then just huffing it down the right side, he really doesn't do much. So you're basically playing against 10 players at that point, 9, I guess, if you want to talk about the field players. So with what you just said, a set piece, okay, maybe you guys score on that. Miami, Messi Magic can get one. Do I want to say 1-1 draw? So
you're terrible. You do that? Don't do that. Don't trigger me. 1-1 draw. What the hell is that?
Austin, they haven't scored more than 2 this season, right?
I'm going to take a train to watch a 1-1 draw.
Austin,
They haven't scored more than 2. They had 2-2 against Minnesota.
Yeah, so Austin has this, and Minnesota's starting to bunker down also. So I'm going to say Austin gets 1. And just to appease Chris, I'll say Miami gets 2. I don't know how, but they'll get 2. Hopefully Messi gets the first one. And I'll say Miami wins a tight game 2-1.
Well, Danny, Hernan did mention that, when whispering in Mascherano's ear, that the best way to beat them is on the counter. So, that's Allende's
if they bunker down, they're not going to give you that opportunity. That's what I'm saying. If they play a low block, Allende is that's it. That's how you eliminate Allende. He is completely pointless on the pitch, and Berterame has proven to be pointless also because he doesn't have much quality on the ball either. He can't create for others. At that point, put in Luis Suarez. If they start playing a low block, take Berterame out, put in Luis Suarez, because he will help you break down a low block. Berterame will not.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, Berterame doesn't create for others. He is supposedly, the words of Rayos fans, not anything I saw, but the people I spoke to, he's a finisher. He can finish. He hasn't shown us that yet, but that's what he can do. He won't create for others. He won't create much space for himself, but once he gets on the ball, he will finish. He hasn't shown us that skill yet, and we're playing against teams that play a low block. Look, if I'm the United States right now, for example, they just got their ass kicked by Belgium and by Portugal, and I see the quality that the team has, I'm bunkering down. When I have less talent, you bunker down and you hope to score on a set piece or on a counter. That's what you do when you have the inferior team. Whenever we play against a team as Inter Miami, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, you know what? We're going to play the counter. And that's why we have such a hard time scoring. And we get countered so often. St. Clair doesn't know how to come out of the box with his timing yet because he's
not even a good goalie.
He is a good goalie. He's just getting accustomed to this new position.
Blanco. I just wanted to. Yeah, go ahead, Hernan.
No, I was gonna say I think we got a really good game coming up. Honestly, it's gonna be a fantastic match.
Well, according to Mike V, Miami's definitely winning 2,654-2. I did the math.
He gave you 2.
And if we play 90 minutes, then we'd have to score 29.4 goals per minute.
That's on some FIFA stuff right there.
That's possible.
Not even. Hernan,
I'm excited.
I appreciate you joining. Are you coming down for the game?
Yes, I will be there. I fly in Saturday bright and early, and my flight lands in Fort Lauderdale around 9 a.m., something like that.
Nice.
And so I was asking folks for restaurant recommendations. We're staying close to Little Havana, and I have family in Tampa, and I've gone to visit them multiple times. And my uncle always has taken me to get a cafecito and a Cuban sandwich. So I'm looking for that.
Well, I'm looking for that. If you stay on 8th Street or close to 8th Street in Little Havana, you have next to Domino's Park, you have a place called Mofongos, which is great. Mofongos is really good. Right across the street from that, you have Azúcar, which is a nice ice cream spot. You have just the traditional Domino's Park, which is a staple down here for tourists. You have not too far off of there, I forget where it is. It's a place called Sandwich, which sells really good sandwiches. So Little Havana is a nice
ice
spot
cream
to be.
place
Azúcar,
that we went to get Azúcar? You got to get yourself a cafecito.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a literal 1 cup of.
You'll have ventanitas all over the place there on 8th Street, so you'll be good with that one. So if you're in Little Havana, you're in a nice spot.
Casola's is good too.
It looks really nice. I'm actually excited. I won't have too much time to explore, but I have like 4 hours before I start doing my work with Austin FC fans and all that stuff. But I'm definitely going to be checking out spots. If I need a cafecito, and I feel like I'll be in Miami 100%. I just need that. That's all I need.
You're in Little Havana. You have plenty of spots to pick from.
Coffee down here in Texas is not it, man. I had a cafecito in Tampa with my uncle. Changed my life, bro. Changed my life.
You speak Spanish?
Yeah,
I do speak Spanish.
Oh, you're right at home. That's our first language over here.
Hey,
yes.
Let's get it.
So,
Yes.
all right,
Can't
Hernan,
wait, guys.
appreciate you joining us. Let everybody know where they could find you if they want to hear some more about Austin.
Yeah, if you guys are ever interested in Austin, you can check us out on Instagram, on Twitter, Blue Sky. We are Austin TV. That's where we post all of the news, player updates, transfer rumors, everything like that. That's where we're going to be posting a lot of the stuff that we get post-match. I got a lot of things to ask the players when this game finishes. I think the whole Messi part of it has a lot to do with it. I think the new stadium is going to be a really good, kind of storyline to kind of go after.
Absolutely.
So, I'm excited for it. And yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, we're Austin TV. Thank you guys.
You got to go to Flanagan's. That's a good one.
He said he has like 3 hours. You just do like 10 things at him.
Well,
After the game, Miami never sleeps.
No, Flanagan's is a nice spot if you just want to eat. Yeah.
Okay.
And Danny, do you know what? I just found out what this was today. You know what pozole is, Danny?
No.
Because they asked me if I wanted an enchilada or a pozole, and I looked up pozole, and it's like a stew-ish, soup-ish.
Is it like a sancocho?
I guess.
Sancocho in Colombia. I don't know. A lot of people call it, like in Cuba, they call it
It's not a
ajiaco.
sancocho because a sancocho is
Ajiaco,
like
I
a
think.
soup. This is a pozole.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I don't-
pozole.
I don't even know.
Over
know
here,
what I'm
we
looking
eat
at.
pozole for New Year's, Christmas, when it gets cold, when it gets hot. I mean, it's oh my gosh. Sometimes I get tired of it, but I prefer it over menudo. Do y'all know what that is? Menudo?
No.
I don't like menudo. Menudo, I don't like menudo. My family loves menudo. I'm a big pozole guy. If I had to choose between the two, big pozole guy.
You know what? You know what I had for the first time not too long ago? It was a beer, and it was red. It had like a red lettering. I didn't think too much of it, and then they told me it was a Mexican thing. I forget what it was called, but it was
Tecate?
nasty as hell. No, it was nasty as heck. I was like, "What the heck is this?" Oh my god, it's gonna drive me
Tecate,
crazy.
It wasn't Corona.
No,
Couldn't
it
be Dos
was
Equis, couldn't be Modelo.
no, but it wasn't the name brand. It was like
Oh,
the type, like
Carta
the
Blanca?
flavor. It was like the
Victoria.
flavor. No, the flavor was started with an S. And I was like, "Oh, what the heck is this?"
Huh.
But yeah, I mean,
crazy.
I don't want to waste our time with this, but yeah, nah, it's gonna drive me crazy. All right, Chris, do you have any final words?
No, you suck, and you wanted to pick a tie, and you're a loser, is what you are.
Well, I was hoping that you would say more than that, so I had time to find what the hell I was talking about. But I guess that's it. I'm not gonna have time to find it.
No,
but
I'm not
gonna
giving you
figure it out.
any time. You're a bum.
All right. Well, if you want to hear me talk about more draws, we're going live on
Oh,
the Battered
God.
Soccer Fan Show in a couple minutes.
me.
We're gonna preview match day 6, go over the 15 matches, and then we're gonna predict them. So I can predict like 5 or 6 draws to make Chris happy, and make sure you catch us for that. Hernan, as always, appreciate you. If you're at the stadium and you have nothing to do, we will be walking around the stadium. Maybe we'll link up there, and the worst of luck to you this weekend.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. Hopefully, I'm flying back to Austin with somewhat of a smile on my face. I'll take a draw at this point, but I've never seen Messi play in person. I'm not a Barcelona
cool.
fan, but I do appreciate Leo Messi and what
Absolutely.
he's done for the sport. So I'm excited. This will be something off of my bucket list, and it'll be great to see one of the greatest players of all time at a new stadium. I can't wait. I mean, this is literally part of history. This is history right now. So
And that's what I was
wait.
gonna say. And then obviously we're Inter Miami fans, right? So we I don't mean to talk it up too much, but in all actuality, like this stadium, because of the Inter Miami brand that they're trying to build, this stadium is gonna be one of those iconic stadiums here in this country. And you're gonna be there for the first game. Because I really do believe, like soccer-wise, this is gonna be an iconic stadium. Everybody's gonna when you fly into Miami, like you're gonna see the stadium because it's literally next to the airport. and at nighttime is going to stand out. It's going to be one of those iconic moments. So if you're there for the first game, it's going to be a cool memory.
I can't wait, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
can't wait. I'm very excited for this, and I'm gonna get as many souvenirs as I can because I know a lot of Barca fans. I know a lot of Messi fans, and whenever
very
they
cool.
found out I was going, hey, give me something. I was like, all right, I'll do what I can. So I'm
Yeah,
glad that I'm gonna be witnessing history.
Absolutely. Look, we're gonna go see the stadium tomorrow for the first time, so I'm really excited for that also.
Are y'all gonna be
So-
posting any pictures, any video content? I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Chris is the man
I'm
behind
definitely. Well, I know I don't like that kind of stuff, but like it's the first time we're gonna see it for sure. I'm planning on recording and posting stuff up on Twitter, so I'll post some stuff up for sure.
All right. Well, again, appreciate you, Hernan. Chris, I hate you. If you're listening on audio, appreciate you listening to the end. Please leave 5 stars in a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And we will be back again in a couple minutes for Battered Soccer Fans. So if you want, check us out on that channel. If you haven't and you're watching us live right now, there's 75 watching live. Give us 75 likes, please, because that'll help us a ton. And we'll be back for the post game.
Like Danny.
Oh, and by the way, we don't know what time the post game is going to be. I have no idea how it's going to be getting out of that stadium. I have a feeling it's going to be.
I'm going on the metro to and from the stadium.
I have a feeling it'll be a late post game probably, but we appreciate everybody. And until the next one, have a good one.